This number is using RoboKiller to screen their calls. Please say your first and last name, and I'll try to connect.
Knives, Monroe.
Thanks. What's the purpose of your call?
A fucking podcast.
Thanks.
Hello?
Mr. Nutty?
Hey, yes, Mr. Knives.
How you doing, man?
What's up, man?
Oh, it's good to hear from you, brother. How you been?
Good. Yeah, you too, man. We haven't spoken in a while, but I hope everything's good on your end.
So it's okay. It could be worse, man. People have it way worse. How you doing? How you holding up?
Yeah. Good. We're on quarantine. I live near Chicago, Illinois, so we've been on quarantine for a little over a week, I think. I don't know, maybe more. I don't know. I've lost track. It's easy to lose track when you're at home all the time. My God.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. I think we've been locked down for about 20 days now.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Over here in my house, anyways, I don't get out. I've probably went out maybe once.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Man.
It's tough stuff. A lot of stuff has happened since the last time we talked, including cancellations of tours like Coachella and South by Southwest, and along with movie theaters. It's the first time I've ever seen a box office just be at $0 for a weekend, along with professional wrestling and NFL, MLB, NBA.
Yeah.
They've all shut down their programs by and large. So what have you been distracting yourself with?
Just TikTok, you know. I gotta hand it to you, man. I really am getting a liking to this TikTok, and it's connecting me with the younger generation that's coming up. So it feels good to be a part of that. But I'm struggling, man. I thought I'd blow up and shit like everyone else, but you know, it is what it is. I haven't been making great content because I've been so focused on this virus. You know, it kind of like threw everything off.
I know.
You know, it just totally knocked everybody over. And I'm sure you probably talked about this. I haven't seen your last two podcasts that you uploaded recently, but man, I know are we live?
We're not live. I am recording though. Yeah, this is the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I know we wanted to do the live stream, but
it's all good. Yeah,
it was just
every
we'll
month.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll do it in April. Shit, we'll do it tomorrow. All right.
Yeah.
Might as well.
No, but I really want to know, man. I know all that aside, how are you? You know, like I know it's weird to ask, like, are you happy? You know, with your family. I just want to know that you're safe, dude. Like that's what's most important to me right now. That I haven't been able to talk to you about in person until now.
Yeah, true. I am safe. I traveled March 3rd, 4th, and 5th to Florida, and when I was coming back, I was so excited because I hadn't been on the road in months, and we had I was going to go to Jacksonville the next week, and I was going to go to Chicago, as a matter of fact, the week after that, and I had trips planned for Europe in the summer, which everything's been postponed. Oh. It sounds like the last 4 months of this year will be me on the road for 4 months is what it's going to sound like if things go well. I think that's best case scenario. So I'm safe. My family's safe. You know, it's me, my daughter, my son, my wife, and my mother-in-law, and my dog. And so we're all good, thank God, you know. We're the lucky ones, I will say it. But to answer your question, am I happy? I've been happy 4 or 5 times, moments in time, my entire life, you know. But my base, like my walking weight, if you will, is not really happiness. It's more so gratitude. Like I'm a very gracious, grateful person. I've always been self-aware enough to look around me and thank my lucky stars. And that, in a way, is happiness. But like true elation, I've maybe felt 4 or 5 times, you know. But how are you holding up? I'm dying to know. May I ask you? Do you live with your lady friend?
The what?
Do you live with your lady friend?
Yes. Yeah, we've been, now that we're all in quarantine, we just decided to live together.
Yeah.
for a little bit, for as long as this lasts, because it's good to have someone with you, to during these times you're so alone. We take it for granted how much we actually need human touch and physical, and visual contact with each other. And it's a wild time to be living through, but I'm getting by really good. I'm always in contact. I don't know. Do you have the House Party app?
No,
Everyone's trying to get.
I downloaded it.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah. It's kind of like a multi-FaceTime, right? I downloaded it maybe 3 months ago, but I never used it because I don't have any friends.
Oh, come on, man. You got plenty, man. Just tell your podcasters to add me on this.
Maybe I should.
And they'll do it.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, I'm sure. You got an audience, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got David Cook listening in, and that's all that fucking matters to me. So we're good.
Fuck yeah, man. Dude, I'm just enjoying it. It's just weird. So what are you doing to pass the time? What you doing, like, more? Obviously you're doing more family things, which I'm sure you love. But what are you guys doing, like, creatively? Because I've seen some pretty crazy stuff that families are doing on the internet to keep busy.
Well, kind of like you. I had a lot of TikTok momentum, and then this thing really hit, and I haven't even been on TikTok in a month, like, consuming it. So I wish I could say I was more creative on that front. Work, thank God, is keeping me busy. So I work remotely. My home base is in Washington, D.C. So being able to work virtually is cool. And my entire company just switched to virtual education, not switched, but it's one of the many things they're capable of. And so it's kept me on my toes. It's kept me busy, thank God, because I know people who have lost their jobs and stuff, and, like, that would be crazy. So once again, one of the lucky ones. And Claire too, she has a mobile job. So we're busy for at least. Oh,
thank God, man. That's the most important. A lot of families don't have that. So
I know.
That's really, that'll definitely ease your stress.
It's another reason why I've kept a low profile online, is because this isn't the time to flex. This isn't the time to be like,
right,
I'm one of the lucky ones. Like, nobody cares. Everybody's, like, in self-preservation mode, and I respect that, But on the same note, I have been very close with my family. Claire's been cooking and baking for really the first time, and that's a delight, Nice. And
oh, dude, hey, just raising cookies all day for you, man. I know you love that, right?
That's so funny that you
I
said
think
that.
I veer in. I listen every now and then, right?
Yeah.
I saw you. I love that podcast, man. The last one
fun.
With you and your wife.
Yeah,
that was a good
fun.
one.
Yeah, she's great. I love her, and being quarantined with her, I got to say, we're doing okay. Like, we're not on each other's nerves. I think if I'm the guilty one that's going to be more on her nerves than the other way around. But so far, so good. Thank God, once again. But, I feel bad for my daughter, quite frankly, because she's an extrovert. She's a social being. My son, he's got the PlayStation, and he's 14. We can play basketball together, and he gives me a run for my money. But my daughter, like, she needs to be around people, and so she's been kind of acting like a baby. I feel bad for her, but she'll be fine. School got postponed until April 6th, and then they just pushed it back to May 6th. So I'm not really counting on it.
Okay, yeah. Is that federal? Because it's like that, as far as I know, for every school in the country.
Is that a fact? I don't know, sir. I don't know. I'm not.
I don't know. I know Florida's fighting this shit, man. Have you seen some of the videos? There was like a reverend in Florida who got like a mass gathering of like 400 people together, and his congregation said, "We could fight this together."
Oh no!
Have you seen this?
I haven't, but that's bound to happen.
Bad. He straight up went to jail. I don't know. I laughed. I shouldn't laugh at that because that's a serious fucking situation, but it's kind of dumb, when you think about it. Why would you do that? It's like, I don't know. It defeats the whole purpose. So.
That's unfortunate.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But people are getting the news late, and I don't know what governments are supposed to do. Like, I'm thank God I'm not in that position. I'm just an artist. I just got to take pretty photos. So the stakes for my competence are pretty low. But if you're a government official, if you're a governor, if you're part of the Senate, hell, even if you're the president, like, there's so much. Whatever you do is going to get especially scrutinized. Like, I mean, you and me, man, like, we're very close in age, and we've lived through the Mayan calendar, 2012, Y2K, 1999,
Yeah.
September 11th, and the recession of '08, which didn't maybe affect us career-wise, but maybe somebody or family that we know, or maybe it did affect you. And now this, and it's like, fuck, like, millennials, say what you want about us, but we're hurting, and we've been through some shit too, man. We've been through some shit. So it's rough for everybody, and I feel bad for the government officials who, whatever they do, they're going to get shit from somebody.
Oh, all the time. And they're always at the front lines.
It's a bummer. What, on the plus side, like, I guess there are some things to look forward to. How are you keeping sane in all this? What are you distracting yourself with?
And videos, I mean, I'm doing binge watching. I promised myself, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna, fall into this whole thing of binge watching shows, but I got sucked in, man.
What are you watching?
Right. Well, man, so many movies that I didn't know that you can only get on Netflix now.
Like what?
I didn't know this was a thing. I'm so out of touch with all that. There's this movie with Will Smith. I can't think about it, but it's like he partners with some alien. I don't know, some weird thing. But I've been watching The Office, man. Oh my God, my girlfriend got me into it. I never saw it before, so oh my God, that just the Dwight, man. All I got to say is Dwight.
Yeah, he's like the QB of that show for sure. He's very consistent.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He carries him and Jim or whatever. I don't even know their real names, but yeah, a lot of like nostalgic binging that I've been doing.
Yeah.
So just to kind of ease up, it's good to do that, but to an X amount. I mean, I'm trying to get working out and going back to my daily routines that I can't do anymore.
I know.
Like everybody who's like a gym fanatic, they're kind of like stuck, and
yeah,
I don't know. It's just it's never been such a good time to pick up a good habit though.
Have you picked up any good
habits?
To do
that. Yeah. I've been doing push-ups and sit-ups every day and running up and down my stairs, like a stairmaster. So there you go.
Dude,
slowly but surely. But
is WrestleMania going to be a shit show this year?
Oh my God, dude!
It's this Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be on. It's going to be on, but there's going to be no people. Now, I got to tell you, I think this would be the most hyped WrestleMania in history because I think the only reason why people are going to be tuning in to see like how much of a train wreck this could be. This could be the greatest, and it's never happened in WrestleMania history, and I think Vince McMahon gets off on that shit.
It's a two-nighter. It's a two-nighter, so
what?
It's on Saturday and Sunday, and so if it bombs on Saturday, are people going to tune in Sunday?
Oh, that's the question. What that doesn't make sense either. So you would assume that Sunday is the top matches, right? How does that even? They kind of didn't even explain it good.
I have no idea. I'm definitely like on the fuck Vince McMahon bandwagon when it comes to that. I don't appreciate this decision. Unfortunately, the workers, the wrestlers, they're independent contractors, so it's one of those, if they get sick, it's going to be they're liable, not WWE. That's pretty whack. I know Roman, because of his leukemia that he's had twice, opted out, right? How is Vince not going to hate him for that? I see him doing that. So the main event is kind of now fucked, and they swapped Roman out. And so it's weird, like not just on a mark level from entertainment value, but I don't know why Vince had to, I guess shareholders or something, but they really take the show must go on mindset very, very seriously in WWE. And I'm curious to see how people will look back on this historically with hindsight and say this wasn't a good look, or say, wow, we admire the balls at that time. I wonder what people are going to say.
Yeah. I think, geez, I don't know, man. You got me stumped. I think it's going to be remembered for sure, but whether it'll be negative or positive, it will probably be the most talked about thing in wrestling history.
Man.
Aside from like Mick Foley falling off the cage or something crazy, but
you're probably right.
It'll definitely be remembered, and you got to blame it on somebody. So, I mean, I know Vince is in charge of this whole thing, but It's wild. I think so. You don't support the wrestlers fighting. Is it too late in the game? Should they have stopped doing this by now? It's just an unnecessary risk. Is that how your feelings are towards this?
It's kind of like it's bad timing. It's setting a bad example. I just think it's kind of reckless. All that for entertainment. I don't know. I feel bad because wrestling, like the NFL players, this is their off season, so they're fine. But in WWE, for example, there is no off season, right? So I don't know what they are supposed to do. If I was WWE, maybe Vince can't do this, but he has so much in his vault. Like, why can't every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they just show an old Raw? Why can't they show syndication? They've never done it before. Like, give these wrestlers time off, let them be with their families, quarantined, pay them. Like, this is your time to set an example and be a great
for humanity
leader. Absolutely. And so they're shitting the bed there, and it's all Vince's decision. It's a shame, total shame. He would have had WrestleMania with a live 60,000 people audience. If the state of Florida left it up to him, he would have did that and put so many people at risk.
Oh, yeah. My God, you really think he would have?
I know
even
for a
knowing
fact.
what he knows now.
I know for a fact he would have, because it was almost that way for a while until the state kind of pulled the plug on gatherings of more than 10 or 50 or 200 people. So it was impossible. But it's a shame, I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I don't know why they don't just set it all up like irregular and then just have 200 people around the ring. But I mean, even then, that's still risky. It's just too risky. You're picking business over humanity.
You know what I was thinking? And this is gonna sound pretty out there, but I don't know how you do this, but surely it's possible where you do your first ever VR WrestleMania, where you film with VR cameras.
That's sick.
And they put cameras where the audience would be their POV, right? And I put a headset on, and you put a headset on, Dave Cook, and you and me can like move. Wait, we got these goggles on, and if I look to my right, I can see you there. Whoever's in the group chat, the group viewing experience, and so virtually we're there, but we're at home. I thought this would have been a great time to introduce that. I know they've tested this with the NBA before, and it's mind-boggling. And so a VR experience could have been a game changer, and like really pushed that technology forward. And WWE could have pioneered that. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe that's just impossible. Surely they could. I would have rather have participated in that shit show than what they're going to do.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just hello?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I was just hearing static on my end. So I'm like kind of mumbling a little bit. I'm trying to get my thoughts. It's like, you don't hear any static? I'm sorry to interrupt.
All I hear are your sweet, gorgeous, luscious, velvety tones.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You're getting spicy in here.
Yeah. When you texted me to FaceTime you, remember? But then you told me what you were doing, and I was like, oh, that's why he wants me to FaceTime him. I see what's going on here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Maybe you don't want to do a live stream video chat with me. I'll be doing everything.
I do.
You do? Shit, man. I'll put on a show. I've been thinking about getting a Twitch account. What are your thoughts on that? Do you have anything with Twitch? And
I have a Twitch account.
You could do basically podcasts on that, can't you?
Yeah, I have a Twitch account, and my buddy who's been on the show a few times, his name's Trent Knox, as a pioneer in streaming. Like, he's really my go-to guy when it comes to what's hot and what's going on, what's the cutting edge of streaming. And so there's this cool website called StreamYard, and all you need is a webcam and a microphone, whatever. That's already the setup that I have, but you can live stream and distribute your feed to LinkedIn, Periscope, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, everything, like all off of one website, And I'm like, that's so cool.
That's amazing.
So you don't have to pick one. So Twitch is definitely one of those platforms. I want to say if you have, I don't know if it's 50 or 100 followers, then you can start participating in their partners program, So get in while it's hot. It's just like anything else. And if you're a gamer, if you like to play games, and with your personality, I think kids would be drawn to you, not in a weird way, but just like in a PewDiePie way.
Not in a weird way. You just gotta cover all ends, right? Nice.
Obviously, I got your back.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, I've been wanting to do that, but I'm just
do it today.
Is it laziness? Or
no, do it today.
Is it just me trying to earn a living? And I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird spot.
If you were 19 years old,
definitely thrown all that shit off.
You wouldn't be overthinking it if you were 19 years old.
No, I wouldn't. I'd just be fucking doing it.
You'd just be doing it. So there's your answer.
I don't know what the fuck, man. I'm all over the place today. Oh, jeez.
I can't blame you.
Wednesday today. I seriously thought it was Wednesday.
I know.
That's crazy.
It's funny when the weekend happened and I was done with work. I was like, "What the fuck am I excited for? I got nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Saturday's what? More of this shit? What's the difference?"
Yeah.
Give us our weekends back.
Amen. I really want to do a podcast in person. Because the only podcasts I've ever done were over the phone, and I feel like it's the experience in person with us would be way better.
It would be electrifying for sure. I'll be in Chicago this year.
Oh man,
we'll make it happen.
When do you have plans?
How far are you from Chicago, like downtown?
About 40 minutes.
See, you could make the drive. It's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all, man.
The first
on a good day, especially now. I mean, shit, Knives. How about we meet up next week?
Oh shit!
You could try. I know that wasn't a bad.
If I could,
joke.
if flying was cool right now, I'd probably take you up on that.
Yeah, it's just not. Are they even allowing flights anymore around
know.
the country? I mean, I'm sure they are, but
It's a good question. I think they are.
Not rural areas.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good point. Not sure.
Like, can you fly to Boise, Idaho, if that's where you live? I don't know.
Good
Maybe
question.
only Chicago, LA. Like, are they? I don't even know if Midway or O'Hare by me is open.
I heard O'Hare was pretty bad earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, with international travelers. It's not fun.
Oh yeah, it was jam packed. Oh man, that's just how it all starts, man. It's crazy, but the best thing you could do right now is what we're doing. You know, that's how we're living, and that's also the state of wrestling. And I like that we talked about the wrestling because it is the only thing close to a sport that's actually still running episodically with new things. And I think that's the allure that people have, not the fact that the quality of it is just bad, but I think just the fact that people have that access, that's what makes it more interesting. You know?
What's weird is it's just like not the way wrestling is supposed to be. Like the whole conceit of it is the audience. It just doesn't work for me. I can't watch it, man.
You're not against.
AEW has been watchable.
You're just against the fact that they're wrestling in that environment with just the risk level isn't worth it to you, and it sounds insane, right?
Well, it's hard to be entertained by it. It's not entertaining right now. Like when Steve Austin showed up and was like, "Give me a hell yeah!" It's like, what are you doing? I love you, but what are you doing?
Yeah, that's
weird.
True.
It's weird. Like in the beginning,
that'll always be remembered, though.
In the beginning, they won't acknowledge it. They didn't acknowledge that it was weird. AEW acknowledged it and made it work in some weird way. But now WWE's trying. I don't know, man. It's just so strange. I'm not used to it. It hurts my eyes. It hurts my eyes. You know.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. Oh my God.
I need that wet hot crowd.
Yeah, that's true. That's what it's all about. We don't realize how much we need contact like that with each other.
Yeah, you said that. You said that we need touch, right?
Yeah.
And that's very important too. I think about that because one of the darkest times in my life, I was depressed and I was stuck in an apartment for 9 months, and I never left the apartment. I could barely take off my shoes or turn off the lights, and was so depressed and did not have that sense of touch, man. I did not interface with people really, and I hated myself, and it was awful, and I couldn't imagine being stuck in a quarantine right now and not being able to, especially for extroverts, to socialize with humans and get your batteries charged up. Like, it's rough stuff, man. So you're one of the lucky ones as well. Is your lady friend working?
Yeah, she gets to work from home.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, she's doing good, and nothing is being lost on her end. I mean, well, whatever department the department she's in is good, but yeah, and I'm good too. I was working at the school doing maintenance, so there's basically nothing left to, everything's clean, so, and there's no events going on, so there's just it's good too working for a school, so the income still rolls in.
That's great.
And that's I could say that I'm one of the fortunate ones.
Yeah.
Because I'm a part of a union too, so it all keeps us safe during these hard times with benefits and stuff.
Thank God.
I couldn't be more blessed, to be honest, because I got someone I can hold at the end of the day, and that I know that my career is stable, just like hers.
That's
so
great.
It's a good story. It's good to hear good news every now and then, but I know that this is a very serious thing, and a lot of people still aren't taking this seriously.
Right.
And that's the scary part, is because those are the people who are most dangerous to older people and ones at risk. But I don't know. Do you want to keep talking about this? Because I'm sure everybody just knows. I mean, everybody knows about this. There's nothing we could really say right now that people haven't already heard. So
it's important for other people to hear what they are feeling in their hearts and hear what they're saying to themselves in their own head, and to know that they're not alone. On the same token, what do you and your girlfriend, if you don't mind me asking, do for fun? Like, what do you guys like? How do you? I imagine you're constantly entertaining her and making her laugh. Is that weird to say?
Actually, the opposite, dude. She's becoming a little gremlin, like walking around the house and doing creepy stuff and just acting goofy, and I love it.
Man.
I love it, man. We're keeping it interesting, because that's good, So we're kind of doing a thing where we turn the TV off, and then we had date night in the garage. We set up like a poker table or something, or and put some cloth on there, lit some candles, had a dinner out in the garage, like we were out somewhere.
That's a good idea.
And then we and then we just started drinking and having a good time. So yeah, just doing little fun things like that. Like, dude, I mean, I don't know if your wife's listening right now, but you have a garage, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, turn that into like date night. Pull the cars out or whatever, and just surprise her with something like that.
That's good advice.
I'm sure she'll be happy with it. I don't know if you can. I know you got kids running around, and so, but.
Yeah,
dude,
they're
that's
always
kind of like how
stepping
we're
on
keeping
me.
each other sane.
Yeah, that's lovely, man. That's good advice. I might take you up on that. Because we could use it, man. Her birthday was March 13th, which was a Friday the 13th.
Oh my God.
And that was like the kind of the day where we knew we felt guilty going out. We just went out to like a tattoo parlor, but we felt guilty going out just on the 13th, and we haven't really left the house since. And it's only been 20 days, but it's felt so long, man. And like being trapped with the dog and the kids who just are constantly stepping on me. Yeah, we need that time. we got to go get a hotel and figure it out. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Well, it's really good. I needed this positive energy, but
yeah, man. Hey,
it's
since
good.
you're on Netflix, I think you need to watch this movie. I think you're gonna hate it, but it might disrupt. I don't think it's like anything you've ever seen.
Okay.
It's on Netflix.
I'm getting the pen out right now because I'm old school.
All right.
All right, let's do this.
Okay.
Pen and paper, baby.
Cool. It's a movie. It's called The Master. And it stars Joaquin Phoenix. It came out 2012, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, and it also stars Philip Seymour Hoffman, and it's a phenomenal movie. Phenomenal, gorgeous to look at, amazing, deep. I hope you like it. Some of the best acting I've ever seen too, if you're into that. But it's on
Joaquin
Netflix.
Phoenix, how
Yeah.
does he ever fail?
He doesn't,
Never.
and I think this is his best performance by far.
Really?
Oh, by
wow, that says a
far.
lot, man, because you're
Yeah.
a huge Joaquin Phoenix fan.
Yeah. This is his best film, in my opinion, performance-wise, and so I think you'll get a lot out of it. It inspired me quite a bit years ago.
And what was it? So The Master, and starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
And what else?
And well, it came out in 2012. The director's Paul Thomas Anderson, who's made incredible movies, and I hope you like it because it's on Netflix and then it disappears, and then it's on Netflix again, and then they take it off, and it's like,
Oh, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
it's one
hate
of
that.
those. Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, I will definitely do it. I mean, don't even give me any more info. I
Got
trust
it.
you.
Of course.
100%.
Hey, when you're watching The Office, has an episode made you cry yet?
Oh yeah, dude.
Which
There was
one?
one. It was more towards the end, I think.
I know which one it
The
is.
whole. Well, actually, what made me cry surprisingly was the fact that when Jim, have you seen the whole thing?
Yeah, I've seen the whole thing.
Okay, so I don't know if this is the last. It's third from the last show. It was Jim had a meeting with Dwight, who just became the office manager, and he was torn between, because he didn't know if the kid was his, and then he's like, I forgot the blonde hair girl that he was in love with, but Jim was he said something like, you're not a jerk, you're just in love with her, and he was like, that was some good advice, man. And that was the only serious time they had together, because they always vowed they would hate each other. But
right.
Do you remember this?
I gotta watch that. I only saw the last season once,
Yeah.
and it was while it was airing, and it finished in 2013. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, but it was that blonde hair girl that was pregnant, or she already had a son, his son, but she never told him that it was Dwight.
That's right. Yeah.
And so she held that from him because he never said that I love you for who you are or something like that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but
Wow.
it was good, man. I didn't know the show could move me like that.
Yeah. I can't. You're one of the last unicorns in that you got into that show really late.
So late, man. It's the guy. I haven't seen The Godfather since the last time I saw Godfather was 2017, and that was the first time I ever saw it. People were shocked.
Yeah.
I almost got punched in the face once. Some guy's like, "Hey, you haven't seen The Godfather?" And I go, "No." And he had the accent and everything. He's like, "What the?" And he goes to slap me in the back of the head. He's like a typical Italian, but he was so mad that I didn't see Godfather. He's like, "You're 30 years old. You never." And I'm like, "No, I'm 27." But
That's
oh, it was great.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was good. Good stuff, man.
That's so fun. You know who wants to?
What have you been watching? What's your guilty pleasures?
My favorite show of all time is also on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's called BoJack Horseman. It's my favorite show, and I've seen it quite a bit. I love it. But as far as new stuff, I did the whole Tiger King thing. That kind of rocked my socks. Not gonna lie. That's a must watch. Tiger King.
What? Oh my God! I've heard about it. I've heard about it all over, and
I don't think
raving about it.
I think
What
it's
is
impossible.
It about?
It's impossible to watch the first episode and not get hooked, for sure. It's the most addictive documentary I think I've ever seen. What's it about? Gosh, if I were to explain it to you, it's just one of those you need to see it to believe it. I'll just say that.
Is it like tigers in captivity? Because that's what I heard. Something, I don't know. Keeping wild animals.
It's about 3, 4, 5 or so tiger breeders, and how when you breed and raise tiger kittens, what it does to these humans is completely corrupt and corrode who they are, and they become power mongers. And imagine watching The Godfather, but instead of mafia Italians, it's hillbillies with tiger kittens, and people sending. I mean, it's just insane. It's truly, truly insane. I could tell you one bit that is like you'll be like, "What the fuck? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to watch that." And it's just 1/100th of how weird this thing is. But it's got to be experienced. You and your girl, I think she dig it the most. So I watched that like in one day. I felt so guilty afterwards. It was like 8 hours, man.
Okay.
That's nuts.
Damn. That's how long the documentary is?
It's 7 episodes, and they're each like 50 minutes long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. So did you know, I don't know if you've been watching wrestling, but there was a whole thing on Raw with The Undertaker and AJ Styles, and apparently Undertaker supports that tiger thing.
I believe that.
Did you see this?
I did
you
see
see
that.
anything?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I did see that.
That's crazy, man. Does that have any relation to that show?
Kinda. I think it'll recontextualize what maybe you think of the Undertaker's decision behind that. But I will say, I think Taker has a house in Texas, right? And there are more tigers that are quote-unquote pets or tigers in captivity than there are free tigers in Africa.
Wow. Yeah, I can believe that.
That's
I really
insane.
Can.
There's like 20,000 tigers in Texas and like 2,000 in Africa. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Makes
man.
no
I
sense.
Never knew that. Oh man, I can already tell I'm going to be addicted to that show. You are, man. You're so passionate about it. You're like, did you know that there are more than? Dude, you're so excited when you said that.
It's insane.
That's good, man.
It
lights the fire up under your ass when you see reality, right?
Kinda, yeah. Like I just want to. I don't know. That was a very strange podcast, and it really brought America together in unison at one point to kind of distract us from.
What podcast are we talking about?
I said podcast. I'm sorry. Documentary. I did say podcast.
Yeah.
my mistake.
I'm like, what are you doing, man? No, it's all good. Continue. My good sir.
No. I'm just saying. It was one of those things that brought America together over the weekend, and we need that. We need that as a society because we don't have extracurricular events to socialize with other people, and so whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, man.
Yeah, buddy.
I agree. You took the words right out.
Yeah, man. Well, don't give up on the TikToking, man. Now's the time. Now is especially the time, for sure. Just because everybody's at home. Everybody's on their phone. Everybody. I just uploaded my first TikTok like in a month today. I was finally in the mood in a way to do it. I had something to do or say, and you can't take productivity for granted.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I gotta say, I want to put this on record. And honestly, you influenced me to not only do that, but to still continue my desire to make new content, because I feel like I've lost it for a while, and it's easy to sink deeper into that even now. But I mean, now's the time. There's no excuses to film this stuff if you have time, And are you having trouble with that, like being creative? Or I know you were saying some of these, sometimes you feel depressed even in these times, but how have you dealt with that and like gotten yourself out of it?
Whew.
I'm sorry, I'm just rambling,
that's
man.
That's fine.
I'm a few Steve Weisers in.
Oh my, great. It's hard. It's really hard. It's hard. You have to at first want to not feel like shit. It's so easy to feel like shit, or to feel depressed, or to feel out of it. It's so easy. Gosh, I just have to. The way my personality is and has always been is I have to throw myself into projects. When I was traveling March 3rd, 4th, and 5th on the airplane, I wrote a movie, and I was like, I'm gonna make this, and I took out a Google spreadsheet and I started allocating the funds to make this thing, and started speaking
Dude, that
to.
was on your TikTok story, right?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, maybe.
You made
yeah,
a thing
yeah.
about that too.
That's right.
Dude, you did a great job with that. Narrating, I think you went to Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, Tampa. Yeah.
Or Tampa. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, Tampa.
Same shit.
So that was a really good story, man. Even just explaining that is pretty cool. You know, getting that background story, because when you make that movie, are you making it, or are you just trying to submit it to Hollywood or something?
No, well, I don't care about Hollywood. I would just make it and then try to sell some tickets and stream it and make sure everybody I know watched it and then move on to the next thing. But I was so excited to make it, and then as soon as you make plans, God laughs, right? And so I have to throw myself into a project. If I don't have something I'm working on, I go crazy. And so I have to stay busy. And so thank God work is keeping me focused on a project or a goal, and we can move on to the next season, next quarter, and tackle new goals and stuff like that. So I have to do that. I have to stay productive. And so whether if it's TikToks or YouTube or podcasts or what have you, like, I need to snap out of it. And so I was on a podcast 2 nights ago with a couple of buddies of mine, and man, we podcasted all the way up till 2 a.m. It was a blast. It was great. I did that 2 nights in a row, and it got me out of my comfort zone, and it reminded me that I charge my batteries with other people, and it reminded me that we're all in pain. We're all in pain right now, more so than we think right now, for sure. And part of my
Amen, brother.
Part of my soul and like what I do to relate and connect with people is spill my guts out, and people are like, oh, I wanted to say that, or I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say that, and so that charges me up too, to just kind of help people have the freedom to express themselves. That's part of my entire personality, and so if I'm in a vacuum and I'm not doing that, I'm sad. On top of like my chemical sadness that is just there, that is hardwired. So it takes a lot of work for me to put my shoes on. It takes a lot of work for me to walk outside, but it's like, you have to allow yourself like these little mini micro wins and say, cool, I got that. And then move on to the next. And sometimes you got to take it hourly. Like a good buddy of mine once also said, who struggled with PTSD from the war. Sometimes it's hourly, sometimes it's minute by minute. I don't have PTSD by any means, or strong, battle trauma or anything. But I have my own bullshit, and I'm my own worst enemy. So I've been reading. Now's the good time to get into reading. I'm a big reader. Like books saved my life as a child. So I'm reading again. I'm writing poetry again, and I like to go out and like check into hotels and like live that life, and it's just so weird, and I like meeting new people and getting into misadventures, and it's fun, So right now I'm trying to stay busy in other ways, charge my batteries in other ways, and I think I can get through, and it's gonna be fine. I'm trying real hard, but it ain't easy. Like it's like oil prospectors when. In the 1900s, when they would dig for oil, they would have to. It was sometimes oil was just on the ground, and they would scoop it up, and that's what like happiness or fulfillment was like when I was younger, my early 20s. It was just there. Creativity. You wouldn't even ask yourself, should I make a Twitch account? You would just do it, and you'd be doing it. Now that I'm in my early 30s, I just turned 32 a week ago. Now the oil's not on the ground. It's deeper, and I got to dig and go miles and miles deep down into the earth to soak up that gold. It's there. Thank God it's still there. Yeah. But I got to dig so much deeper now, and it's difficult. But all great things are and should be difficult. Otherwise, what's the point, Nuttybuttuski? What is the point?
My God, you couldn't have made me feel any better right now, because that's basically what you're saying is you can't lose yourself.
That's right.
You can in a way, but some ways you got to dig deeper just to get it. But that's the whole point, man. Being you in this day and age is hard, because you got a lot of weird, like I don't know how much TikTok you watch, but the more I watch,
I've gone deep. I've gone deep in it.
The more weird stuff that I see, like what is considered normal now, like like in our day, it wasn't like when you were in high school, you didn't like all the guys are painting their fingernails and they're not gay. They're just doing it because like I don't know. There's the new generation is weird. The comparison between us and what's going on with that TikTok world. Maybe it's just the TikTok culture, but like guys are wearing earrings now and the hairstyle is so different. I kind of feel, I mean, I'm 30 years old, so I'm not too far behind you, but it's weird, man. What are your thoughts on that? Like what kids are dressing like? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it seems like in our day, I know I sound old when I say back in our day, but it was for us, it was just like there was jocks, there was goths or emo, you know, the rebel kids, and that was basically it. You know what I mean? But like, there's so many different facets to like high school kids now, and what they are. Like, you could be a gay jock, trans, like 5 different cultures, and like people are okay with it. I don't know. What am I saying right now? What am I saying right now, Knives?
The TikTok world is like a portal into a whole new dimension for sure. And you really feel old when you're watching these kids, what they're into, what they're able to get away with. And I actually am to a healthy amount a little jealous of them. I'm a little envious of how accepting they are of each other, because I was that weirdo when I was in middle school and high school. I put fingernail polish on. I didn't care, and it was kind of to make a statement. And I remember I showed up to my Catholic class. It was called CCD, which I never graduated.
Yeah.
I never got I don't even know what it's called, communion shit. Like, I never got that. I remember for Halloween dressing up as Marilyn Manson when I was in 7th grade, and they didn't like that. And so I was a little shit growing up.
It's like represents the devil.
Oh yeah,
well, to them.
I mean, Pokemon represented the devil when I was a kid. Harry Potter represented the devil, and I used to think, you're ignorant. You're ignorant. That was me, you know. And so I was a weirdo. I liked wrestling before it was cool, before the Attitude Era, you know. And so I would get picked on for that. And then the next Halloween, kids are dressing up as like Sting, and I'm like, y'all hypocrites, you know. And I knew what the Crow was before Sting, and so I was like that little shithead, you know. And I see these kids growing up, and they get to be trans, and they get to be non-binary, and they love each other, and their senses of humor are so great. Like, a kid today can walk around with a mullet, and it's like, cool. What the fuck, you know? It's the best. And so I love these guys, and I really appreciate what they're doing. You know, my generation, for me, like, even though it wasn't that long ago, like, I grew up dirt poor, you know, and so I got picked on, and, you know, you could just get away with a lot more. And so, like, even pre 9/11, it was rough. It was pretty rough. Like, parents didn't really care. Like, I was that kid that would walk to school. I didn't have a ride back, and I'd kind of just show up whenever, or I was like invisible. Like, nobody cared. And now, like, I know exactly what my son's doing. I can follow him and track him at all times. I know what he's watching. I know what he's into. And it's cool. I get to be there for him, and he's kind of like, chill out, you know? He's like, chill. It's fine. Things are fine. And I'm like, wow, okay, because if I was your age, you know, I just didn't have any attention, and I grew up like this. So I love these guys. I'm almost envious. You know, they all get to drink clean water, and that's good. That's a good thing. I'm happy for them.
What is the new? Is there a new generation that's even beyond? There is beyond millennial, right? No,
I think they're calling.
Is there even a name for it?
Yeah, I think they're calling my son's generation, who's 14, going to be 15 in November, which just feels like it's around the corner. I think they call them, on the internet, they call them Zoomers or Memers, but I think they're called Generation Z.
Yeah, Gen Z.
Yeah. I think they're going to be okay. Like, the biggest problem they're going to have, the boys, I don't know about the girls. But the biggest problem that generation is going to have is sexually they're going to be completely inept, and they just grew up with porn in their pockets, and I think that's going to corrode their brains. Like, that's where I sound like an old man. Like, these kids who have Tinder or Snapchat are sending their dicks to unsolicited dick pics and whatnot, and growing up on Pornhub thinking this is how you treat a woman on a first date or something. Like I really feel bad for kids, like the first time I ever saw like nudity in some sort of publication, I was in third grade, but it was like this torn up, wrinkled, stained, like Playboy picture that was ripped out. And so it was kind of artsy in a way. And and it still felt wrong. I was like, oh my gosh, like who would do this? Who made this? I was scandalized, I was titillated. Yeah. But now kids are just, if you go on Pornhub, it's all this like, I fucked my mom's stepbrother's sister-in-law's roommate and all this weird shit that's like just so like taboo because these kids are so up. They're so desensitized that's like they need to that's where it's at.
That's fucked up.
Back in my day, like just the Victoria's Secret catalog was enough, and so there's a lot left to the imagination. And I was fortunate where I grew up, where I respected women. I knew that they were human beings. I treated them like people first, and so I'm afraid for these kids growing up that are not going to know how to talk to women, and they don't socialize, if it's not on Tinder or something. And so I think there's going to be like this big loneliness factor, since relationships are something that have to be earned, like you have to treat a relationship like it's, like this beautiful thing. And there's so many emotional intelligence that comes from that. And there's not an app on how to be a good boyfriend. There's not, right? So I think these kids are going to struggle with their relationships and interfacing face to face. I think that'll be the hardest thing for them, but it's better than growing up, I don't know, like in the Great Depression in the 30s or something, 40s. Like they're going to be fine. If that's their biggest issue, go talk to a therapist, and that'll be one of us, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
I spazzed out there. I apologize.
They're going to be a hell of a lot smarter than us too.
I hope so.
They're just so much quicker. Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so. I don't take that for granted.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. You're right. It's just that emotional factor. There's no, like, even with us, shit, man. When I was in 8th grade, I had all my friends' phones memorized in my head.
Yeah.
I didn't even, and that's gone, dude. Like even I now at 30 have lost that ability, and even ability to navigate too. Like they're actually saying that cell phones are, now that we have GPS at our fingertips all the time, we're losing our sense of navigation. And when you do that, you could actually have a higher risk of Alzheimer's at a later age. So I think that's the kind of things our kids are going to be having to face.
Yeah.
Is that, we're not going to have it as bad. We'll still have it because we've still had, when was the first time you got your first cell phone? How old were you?
I was working at Church's Chicken when I was like 17, and I had a girlfriend that was so high maintenance, and she was like, call me when you're at work. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do? So I ended up getting a cell phone at a very young age, but I paid for it. And it was a flip phone. Like it was like, there was T9, there was no games on it, and you couldn't even take a picture on it. And that was my first phone. But I bought it, when I was 17, and I didn't get my first smartphone until 2011. I remember that.
Dang. Okay. Oh, smartphone, or I'm talking just cell phone.
Yeah. I didn't get my first smartphone until 2011, but my first cell phone, flip phone, was 2005. Yeah. My senior year, I had a phone, and I was one of the few that had a phone, but I paid for it.
Yeah. Is it hard to think about, your responsibilities were way different as a kid, but like to grow up and from the ages of 0 to 17, you you weren't connected to your phone or any, like imagine if we were constantly connected to our Game Boys back in the day, like even our parents hated that. Like, you're always on your damn Game Boy. Get off of that thing,
Right.
And now it's just like parents give their kids a cell phone just to be quiet because they don't want them to talk in the car or something while they're driving.
Yeah.
So they just throw their kid a tablet. Do you think that's damaging over time?
I think,
or kind of like a cop out.
I think it's lazy. It is a cop out. It's also inevitable. Like I'm guilty of it sometimes, you know. If I'm going on a road trip, I'm gonna download a YouTube playlist for my daughter, and I'm gonna shove it in her face and be like, "Don't talk to me." Just kidding, but you know, I'm guilty of that, you know, for sure. At the same time, like I know that she needs to play in the dirt, she needs to play in the grass, go play with the dog outside. It's hard right now during quarantine, like it's really hard. Like I gave her a bath. At 5:00 p.m. so she could play in the bathtub with her toys. And I was like, take as long bath as you want, you know, for like an hour. Like, I don't care. Like, we're giving her things to do. And she could only fill up so many walls with paintings and things like that. And so it's difficult, man. Like, it really is, because I'm on my phone. Aiden's on his phone. Claire's on her phone, you know. And so she looks at this and she knows, like, hey, like, when am I going to get a phone? And it's like, very funny. Don't make me laugh. But at the same time, like, I think she's lucky in that she loves interacting with people and she loves going outside and she loves playing with friends. And that always is like first than playing on a game or whatever. On the same token, I grew up very connected to technology. I wasn't super privileged, but I remember a neighbor gave me a computer because it was a piece of shit. And it had like
which one, like a Windows 95?
Dude, something? It had like, I think it was like MS-DOS, or it was old, like, dude, old, and like a stack of floppies, right? A stack of floppies. And so I put in a floppy disk one at a time, and I eventually found like the Wheel of Fortune game on it, or the Jeopardy game, and it was like the time of my life. And I remember I would use Notepad or whatever it was, and I'm talking like MS-DOS, like you would have to write like command something to like open up a program. It was nuts. It was just like a black and green screen like the Matrix, and I loved it, you know. And I would write down my dreams in WordPad, and then eventually, you know, like Microsoft 95 and getting like a free AOL disk and like figuring it out, getting Napster in my 7th grade and downloading music, and it would take a day and a half to download illegally one album, and then eventually, you know, you start putting Kazaa, Ares, Morpheus, Napster on all the school computers, and then you're that guy. And then I was always into technology, and I could not be separated. Yeah. I always had headphones on, and I was always listening to cassettes or CDs. Like, you could not catch me without that. Or I had books. Like, I always had comfort of something. I always needed something. And so I can recall being like 9 years old and having a tape recorder and recording episodes of like The Fresh Prince or Simpsons, and then going to school and then listening to that on my cassette player. And now kids just have iPhones, and they just have everything on demand in their pockets. But I was no different, you know, whatever I could get my hands on. Like in 2006, I was working and going to school, and I bought a Zune, and I put so many like Ring of Honor matches on them that I illegally downloaded because it was the only way I could do it. And so I'd be sweeping floors up at Lowe's, but listening to stand-up comedy or something before podcasts, right? So any way, shape, or form that I could to be connected to something, it's bad, man. Like, I can't wash the dishes unless I'm listening to a podcast or a YouTube video in the back. Like, I'm that guy, if I'm going to eat, I have to turn on something that I'm not even going to watch, like The Office. I have to turn it on so I could eat. Like, it's terrible. I've just been hardwired. And all that just to say, I don't want my kids to be like that. It's, you know, I tell my son all the time, he'll be like, I'm bored. It's okay to be bored. That's fine. Go be bored. Yeah. Go be bored, man. Like, figure something out. You're going to be okay.
Part of the human emotion, man. It's normal. Do you think kids are...
well said.
Like, the learning, do you think, like, the way, you know, kids that are 15 years younger than us are, like, obviously they're learning different math, they're learning so many different things, and whether it's, you know, more efficient than ours or not, it's do you think there'll always be a need for that, like,
what I don't like about
together, or do you think kids, it'll be normal for kids to learn online like they're doing right now with this quarantine? Like, is this quarantine going to set a lot of deeper-rooted bad habits for the younger generation now that they have full access to video games all the time? Like, could this, like, are you trying to distance your kids from that, becoming more connected to the internet now? Because it's really easy to fall into that. I myself have.
It is.
We all have, man.
And I monitor everything that my kids consume, like my son has an iPhone, and I'm able to monitor the websites that he's on, and he has to ask me, literally it goes to my phone, like request permission to use an app. And then after a certain time, like, he can't use it. So I'll let him use an app 15 minutes at a time and stuff like that. Same thing with my daughter. Like, she can't use YouTube for more than an hour, which is a lot a day. It is a lot. And so they have that. On the education piece of it, do you remember when we would get upset at our math teachers and say, why do I have to learn this? I'm never going to use it. And then she would tell you, well, you're not going to have a calculator with you at all times when you're an adult. And the cut to, we do, right? And so education to me, unfortunately, shouldn't be about memorization. We don't need to memorize stuff as much anymore.
Are you sure? But I mean, I don't want to get too deep into this. But
let's go deep. Well, let me just finish this thought.
Okay. Then solar flare wipes everything out. I know, maybe not on the whole planet, but for the time being, say a whole country loses its, what is it, the grid,
Wi-Fi,
and all access Wi-Fi too. No, but I'm just saying the grid and all power, all everything. Like, how are we going to navigate to another? Like, I'm saying we might still have that ability to read a roadmap, but like, kids don't even know what a roadmap is now. Like, to physically look at a map on a piece of paper and be like, okay, that's our location, we're going to take this route. Like, kids don't have that ability, and some kids don't even know how to read a clock. Now, I'm not talking a digital one, I'm talking analog. And it's like, it's a dangerous thing, man.
Right, and so that's exactly what I'm saying.
I feel like that basic thing is being lost.
You agree with me?
I just can't imagine that. Like at a 10, maybe, I don't know about a 10-year-old, but like didn't we learned about this shit in kindergarten, how to tell time,
Right. So you agree with me. Like, to me, that's education, right? Learning how to start a fire, teaching your kid how to shoot a bow and arrow, to shoot a gun safely, like gun management, like how to everything. Like, that to me is education. Showing them how to build a fire, showing them, hey, if you get lost, this is north, right? Like, the sun rises here, the sun sets there.
Yeah, moss is on this side or
that's
whatever.
That's what I'm talking about. That's education, not learn these things in this way, take the test, and that's going to show you whether or not you're intelligent or not, right? Some kids have emotional intelligence more so than, memorizing Jupiter's moons or something. I don't know. But so I think there's something to that for sure. Teaching kids about finances, how to invest and how to balance their checkbook, I think will go much further than, dude, I'll tell you, since I went through the school system, I didn't learn jack shit in school. I didn't learn jack shit. My teachers just pushed me through, and I totally didn't get the best knowledge that I could have, the best education. But if we can teach and pass down to our kids critical thinking, I think they'll be fine. They can figure it out.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to.
Their speed of, depending on what they memorize, they probably actually have a better memory. They're doing, I don't know, I think there's a show on Netflix about this too. It's called 100 People. And they get have you heard about this?
No, it sounds interesting.
It's a game show basically that they pair up 100 people, and it's many different scenarios. Like, it's not really a game show. It's actually more of a human experiment, but they'll get, okay, we want, these 100 people, we're going to get 10 20-year-olds, and then 10 30-year-olds, and then 10 40-year-olds, and 10 50, 60, 70. And they keep, or maybe more. Maybe it's 10 or maybe it's more, but I know maybe I'm wrong about the title, but they all have to pair together only their age group, which is the 10-year span. Yeah. And they have to do activities that target, certain things from different ages. Like, there'll be one challenge where all generations, all ages of people have to put together an 8-track player tape or something, or learn how to work it. And obviously, like, the 40, 50-year-olds knew how to do the 8-track. And it just showed what generations and what age group are better at certain things like critical thinking and math and doing puzzle work, and it tests the memory and physical nature, and it's a really interesting show. And then they'll put them in social experiments. They'll have an episode where they'll put 100 humans in a social situation, and they'll find out which generation, like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, are the best at like communicating in a large group of people.
So give me the spoiler.
So
like, which generation wins?
Which what?
Which generation was the best? Who won? Who's the winner?
Oh, for like that, I haven't seen that episode. I saw the first one, which they were testing like more problem solving things, more team building.
Yeah,
that was the only episode I saw, but I'm like, I'm totally hooked to the show now. I'm in 100%. Anything with like human experiment like that is pretty cool.
Yeah,
how we interact with people. And I mean, they had one challenge where they had all the generations together, and they said, they put a smartphone on the table and then a charger for the phone. Or no, it was headphones. They gave every generation a pair of headphones, wired, like iPod ones, and they wrapped it up and said, like, untie this and put it in the right spot. And like the 20-year-olds one, obviously, because they unraveled it, they put it right on their ears and they got it. Like when the 50 and 60-year-olds looked at that, they looked at it and they like knew what it was, but they didn't understand the directions as clearly. So it's really fascinating, this show. You got to check it out, man. It's probably up there with the Tiger thing.
Yeah, you said it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, I would consider it more of a documentary, but it's kind of like an Office approach where the camera's there, but I don't know. It's weird. I'm in.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, you got to check that out.
I want to check it out. I think the most curious, passionately curious people that want to know how things are made and figure things out, and if they don't have an answer, they have the resolve and the resourcefulness to figure it out. I think those people, and they come from all sources of class, ethnicities, genders, and generations, right? Like the most passionately curious people, I think, are leaders and guide the next generation, and hopefully herd them like a shepherd, and are represented well. They represent their generation well, like I don't know who that would be for our generation. Maybe like a Mark Zuckerberg or something. I don't know. It's a little older than me. But people like that, like the most passionately curious people are the winners, If you don't care, if you're apathetic, it doesn't matter if you're 80 or 8, like you're going to have a rough time.
Yeah.
On
it's
that
wild.
note, man,
you said this is a show?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry. Did you say this is a show?
No, that's just my thought.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I was thinking of, never mind. There's something going on here, and hello?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I'm actually getting emailed by work right now, and so I need to finish a project, which is fine. But it's all good, man. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you on the internet? How can they support you, and where can they stalk you?
Oh, geez. You could find me at Nuttybuttuski on YouTube. Basically on all platforms at Nuttybuttuski. Nuttybuttuski. Instagram, spelled the same on all platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, but I'm mainly on Snapchat. And we'll discuss this another time about getting back on the creative content stuff. But man, you take care of your stuff. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it, because one of my goals was to be on your podcast once a month for the whole year.
We're going to do it.
So
we've made
man, I really appreciate it right at the end, but you know, with the circumstances that have happened in the world, we're pretty good.
Yeah,
we're doing good.
The
so
world
I'm glad
ended.
you're okay and you're healthy. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Do you have time? How is Jeremy doing?
I think he's doing okay. We did a podcast that's worth listening to 2 episodes ago, so check it out.
I know.
He really wants to record with you.
Oh my God, I would. Does he have his own podcast, or you would have him on with you and we would all three?
Right. Maybe one day he'll get his own, or make his own. But no, we can do a triple threat match next time. What do you think?
That would be awesome, man.
Cool.
In person too. I still got one good wrestling match in me.
Ooh.
And then I'll
retired.
start to think about kids and all that. But
I'm retired.
Get that one out of my system. All right. Well, I'm glad he's good because I haven't contacted him since his baby. Hey, shout out to Jeremy and his new baby.
There you go. Yeah, reach out to him, man.
I love you, man.
It'll mean a lot. I love you too, man. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you next month.
Yeah, for sure, man. Take care.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Take care, man.